Mm. Do you do you want to read out, perhaps if you have it in front of you, our orientation for what we're kind of sharing on? I have some things percolating in my heart from Fat Blue, and then maybe I'll bow into share.
That sounds great. Let me pull it up. So our aspiration is to honor Thai's aspiration to continually renew and refresh the Dharma through the unique perspective and insights of young adults.
Dear Thai, dear Sister Cheng Kong, dear beloved multifold community. My name is Elli, and I go by she and her. I am joining you. I'll offer perhaps the University of Toronto land acknowledgement, which I like to acknowledge is just a paragraph. So it is limited by time and space, but just an opportunity to check in with the place that I am in, the earth below my feet, and just an invitation also for each of us who are coming in from different spaces and places in whatever way to just honor the land ancestors that we are with. So offering acknowledgement of this land, which has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Senecas, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this is still the meeting place to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live, practice, and play on this land, the University of Toronto. And at New College, where I teach and work, this has a commitment as a community to unlearn and grow from histories of violence and colonialism that still permeate our practice, and to listen and honor different knowledge, wisdom, and traditions that are part of the history of this space and this land. So again, dear beloved community, I'm grateful to be here with all of you today, and it was very nourishing to hear Brother Fat Blue share about some of the roots of Wake Up, and Logan has our Wake Up logo is wrapped on the shirt there, and just a happy moment to reflect on this path that I have been so grateful to be walking on with the Sangha. I see I am actually I'm getting old for Wake Up. I'm like, I was there at the beginning. I'm gonna be becoming a Wake Up caretaker sometime soon. But I also just want to acknowledge this beautiful gift of arriving here today and seeing so many familiar names that I can see and who is here, and just reflecting in this moment as we think of continuing Thai, of what our practice means, and this continual refreshing and renewal Thai's energy. You know, Brother Prabhu shared, like, how are we renewing and refreshing Buddhism? And I know those deep or I feel Brother Fetlin is co-teaching one of my classes at the university right now, a topic I can share more on, but he keeps asking my students trick questions that like can't really actually be answered, but he'll be like, can you like give me a definition of mindfulness? And they all like study, mindfulness at university. They want to give him a definition, and then he's like, well, actually mindfulness can only be experienced. You can't give it words. So I just said, I know, and I was just calling in that, what do I know? When I am certain, check again. But I just wanted to say what a gift it is to see all the names of those here, and just to really touch in to this community that we are part of. That for me, so much of the refreshing and continuation of this is being one cell in a Sangha body. And so I haven't maybe read all the names, but I just saw like John Bell, my Dharma teacher mentor, is here, and I just feel so supported by seeing your name come in here. And Thaplu talked very beautifully about how in Wake Up, it's this, I think, for me, like this continuation of a stream, the stream that has been, coming to us for so many generations with this wisdom of these teachings, and then through Thai and through our community. And I can feel that in this moment as I think back on those tours I was part of. The other two beautiful humans I can see here who are on the Wake Up CTC with me now, who are not there at the beginning and who have manifested. And I'm so happy for all of you joining today that you also get to meet them. Because I think a beautiful part of our practice and our community is that one Buddha is not enough. And I touch that every time we come to the North American Wake Up CTC. I get this beautiful relief, I think, in the face of what we are facing as a human family and as a spiritual family with all living beings on our planet. It can feel overwhelming. Uh, all there is to perhaps do, and really touching in this moment to invite all of us today to hear about Wake Up, knowing that Wake Up is empty of a separate self. Uh, so we are really part of this wider Plum Village family and global family. And yet at the same time that I recognize the need to create some space specifically for young adults. And so I hope one of my aspirations for today is to share a bit about who we are as the historical embodiment that is Elli, to share a little bit if that's cool, and also this other body we're part of Wake Up, and then our wider Sangha body, and just for me looking together at how these different knowledge streams, the Elli, the Wake Up, the Plum Village, whatever these labels are, how they can keep flowing together to really support the continuation of our practice, of Thai, and of our community. And one reflection I was having as we thought about this panel today, what to share, and perhaps I'll introduce myself a little bit more and some of the work I do to give some context for this. But something I've been really thinking about with Wake Up is how do we continue as a community to really create spaces where our different lived experiences can be held and seen and safe? And how do we do this with an energy not of separation, but this interesting dance we have, I think, with creating a space like Wake Up. And Feplu shared, at the beginning we had some support and some hesitation and worry, like what are these young people going to do? And I can share a bit about my experience with that. But what I want to reflect, and I'm looking forward also as we share, I'm just like sharing from the heart. This is like not a prepared sharing. I'm kind of just like Dharma sharing was my plan for today. Like what's alive right now. I hope that my sharing right now just is offering some of my lived experience and perspective, and also sharing my heart with all of you so that when we get to the Q&A, you feel safe to ask questions, and maybe I'm planting some seeds for you on what my perspective or my lived experience might be able to speak to. So I'm really looking forward to co-creating what this session is. What is refreshing the Dharma and continuing Thai? Like, what does that mean to all of us? I'm so curious to hear your questions and hear what that will bring out from those of us on the panel. So perhaps with a bit of time I have, I want to share a bit about my lived experience, my own practice, because we haven't totally introduced ourselves, and of course, the limitations of time and space. Well, you know all of me in the next 5 minutes, just a glimpse. But I'll start there, and then I'll just set an intention to share a little bit about some of the challenges that I have experienced as a wake up, or perhaps in the Sangha, and ways that I continue to learn and grow from those experiences, and how that's really helping inform my approach also now to how I can water the seeds of the 19-year-olds that are coming to Wake Up Toronto. How do I make sure they have space? And how does this also inform my approach to creating space for BIPOC and queer voices in my song, and what that means? So those are some intentions. How many minutes do I have left? Do you have any sense?
90 seconds.
90 seconds from now? Oh, I've been talking for a while. Okay. So I'll maybe give myself permission to talk a little bit faster just about my background. So I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and I went to my first retreat. I went to children's program with my mom and dad when I was 10 years old. So I had the joy of going through children's program and then teen program, and then just like graduated from teen program, Wake Up started. So I just like cruised into Wake Up. And you've heard a bit about my being part of planting some of the initial seeds on some of the Wake Up tours. My partner, my husband, Rob, was also on those tours with me and is also a member of the Order of Interbeing. And we are constantly intrigued and fascinated by the research question of how do we live our lives in the spirit of this community? We do so many things in our daily lives to say, like, how is our home a place of refuge, like a monastery? We have a whiteboard on our fridge where we have a daily schedule. We've put these like speakers around our home that are like wireless. And so before morning and evening sitting meditation, we play the Great Bell Chant from the Plum Village app. It just like resonates through our home. It's like we're at the center and someone's over on the hill doing the chant, and it's almost meditation time. We use beginning and news to cultivate and care for our relationship on a monthly basis, weekly basis. So integrating Dharma into my daily life is something that is just of great interest to me. I did my master's at York University in the School of the Environment, looking at classroom environments, and I did qualitative research going into schools in Bhutan and India with the monastics to do work looking at the impact of Thai's teachings on educational communities. And then for my PhD, I actually went to the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Toronto to research and study Thai's work and how it might apply to physicians and clinicians. So I finished that. So I'm currently based at the University of Toronto as an assistant professor in the Buddhism, Psychology, and Mental Health program. And I am so grateful. I teach the collection of courses I'm teaching this year are socially engaged Buddhism. They're all undergraduates. Research for mindfulness, so looking at research methodologies. I teach advanced topics in Buddhist psychology and Dharma, which Brother Feplin is actually an official co-teacher and zooms in for half the lectures. We're having so much fun cooking up the Dharma together. And then I also teach a course, Buddhist Perspectives on Current Social Issues, and have a grant from the university to bring in different voices to co-lecture in 6 of the courses, because Buddhist perspectives are vast and current social issues are big. And so Brother Papu actually has been co-creating the curriculum for this course with me. Kyra Jewell is coming in as one of the speakers, Melina Bondi, John Bell has come. At past years, I've had Joe Riley there, and just I share all of this to say that I am so grateful for this opportunity to walk this path of wake up, to really integrate the Dharma into my daily life as a way that I can see deeply into myself, care for my communities around me, and then all these ways that we can like innovate. You know, Brother Kapu has shared Thai's vision is that, you know, monastics and monastic centers are not separate from us in the real world, that we are this integrated whole. And I love seeing in my undergraduate students, like they're just like, oh yeah, you know, like Brother Kapu on the app, like said this thing, and like they write it in their essays, and you know, just really allowing this to be part of our daily lives. Maybe can I take one more moment, or I can save it, but just to candidly, to share one thing I was reflecting on. So yeah, so many ways of bringing the Dharma to life and challenges. I just wanted to share one reflection I've had for those of us thinking, how might we continue these teachings in Thai, and what might be some of the challenges? And I'm like, I'm on the record now, but I'm going to share this anyway. Is just to share, you know, an experience that I have had as a young person in our Sangha sometimes that I think has been challenging. And I recognize like my own ego in this piece. So I share this with openness, but maybe also just like kick off some conversation. Um, I've been so embraced and loved by the Sangha, and there also have been challenges. And one thing that I was thinking about when we were percolating on this panel was the number of times I have been on retreat or even in like an online day of mindfulness, and a practitioner has met me and assumed I am new to the practice based on what they can see, and sat me down and given me a lecture on who Thai is and who Plum Village is. And that's okay. We all make assumptions about the folks we meet. And my practice has been just to breathe and receive it, because it's actually really beautiful to like hear from someone why Thai is important. There's often like I get sat down at a retreat being like, you need to know who Thai is and why this is important, because it's important that you're here, which like I actually see like this beautiful aspiration there to invite me in and explain the community. This of course happened to me many times after I've been practicing the community for like 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. And so I sit, I breathe, I receive the nourishment of what that person wants to offer me. And at the same time, it has an impact on me when I'm in a space and someone singles me out and says like, oh, it's good that you're here and you should know why. And it makes me feel a little less of a sense of belonging. That that person, you know, had these assumptions about me, or do I need to prove myself, or like, you know, these different things come up. And another example, we went to an online day of mindfulness, Rob and I, and whoever was in charge of the Zoom, I think recognized a few of us long-term wake-uppers and put us into a breakout room together. And then there was someone who was assigned to kind of lead the Dharma sharing. And they came into the room and they saw, I guess, what they perceived as young people, assumed we were all new. We were actually all OI members, all the wake-uppers in that breakout. And they took up the entire Dharma sharing time to explain Thai and the practice to us. And the wake uppers who were there, like, I hadn't seen them in years. This was during the pandemic, and you put in a Dharma sharing room. I just had wanted to hear their hearts, and we had no time for Dharma sharing. We all breathed. I know we received it. And so I just share this, not to critique those moments I've had, but I just, for me, it reminds me to look deeply. What do I do when someone attends Wake Up or another space who I perhaps perceive as new or different or marginalized? I'm like, oh, there's someone here who's marginalized. I should make them feel welcome. And then what do I do with that? And like, what are those thoughts? And so I just share this, that I have had that learning for myself, that I want to offer that into the space for discussion today, and that it's really been an invitation for me to think about, how do I create space? And in our tradition and from Thai, what is this invitation where Thai continuously invited us to create affinity Dharma sharing groups, retreats that had specific affinity groups? And I want to continue to learn from that and just say my experience. I promise I'm wrapping up. My experience um, is that sometimes there can be a critique, like we shouldn't have separation, non self. And I just really want to honor, I think, what Ty was inviting us to do, which is we are not separate, practicing with all ages sanghas, practicing with our Maha Sangha. It is an absolute gift. And my mentors on the path who are here are my beloved community. And I also see that we also want to honor the different lived experiences that we have in the historic dimension, and really continue to refresh and continue by offering those spaces. So I know the obstacle of knowledge is my assumptions, and I continue to look into them myself. And I lecture at the university, so I just talk so much. I'm gonna like notice myself and stop talking. I look forward to hearing from my other panelists and answering questions together and exploring the Dharma with all of you. Thank you. I know you are there, and this makes me so happy.